On today's episode, do you feel those are your magic hours?
Yeah, I do.
Do you want to play magic hours now?
Yeah, I'd love to. Nice segue.
I try my best to work on those segues of trying to find the sticking point where I can transition it.
You're like,
smoothly.
is this your magic hours?
From the horse country of Southern California to the mountains of Lyons, Colorado, my next guest has been on a journey few could have imagined. Raised in a musical family surrounded by vintage guitars, studying classical voice, musical theater, and once dreamed of Broadway. But one night at a concert by the Wailin Jennys opening for Nickel Creek, everything changed. She heard the sound of her own future, took a hard left turn into Americana, and to this day continues building her reputation of being a soulful and deeply emotional artist. Today she joins me now to talk about her latest EP After Love, and much more. With that, I'm incredibly pleased to welcome Americana singer-songwriter and The Voice Season 24 alum, Alexa Wildish. Alexa, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, what an honor it is to speak with you, and I've been trying to do as much research as I can to make this interview. I don't like to call this an interview.
Yeah.
Like it's so boring. It's so plain to call it an interview.
Yeah.
I like to look at artists as more of a conversation.
Yeah.
And I hope with many artists who come on the show that they feel like a friend on this show
Yeah.
instead of a media based person that likes to be all glammed up and whatever and focus on the PR side of things.
Yeah.
Um but I just feel like listening to your interviews with other people, I just feel like you have this sense of, I guess, curiosity in
Hmm.
terms of like musically speaking. Like
Hmm.
you seem like you're very thoughtful and very, I guess, more so thought provoking in terms of what you think of music and the alleyways of how you go about sort of the way you create music. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback a lot, honestly. And yeah, it does make sense. I definitely feel well. I mean, I think a lot of artists feel this way on some level that music is a healing medium, that it has the capacity to like change people's lives. And so there's a lot of responsibility with that. And sometimes, I mean, to be honest, sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to hide for a while and not be seen because it is such a vulnerable thing to put yourself out there over and over and over again. And after I had done The Voice in 2023, there was this like big outpour of like me being seen and like sharing my music or like sharing even just cover songs, but my interpretation of these cover songs. And I wanted to kind of go, okay, I just want to like get back in my little shell after that. So I've kind of been going through an experience of redefining how I see and feel music again. And so much of that comes from like being with myself and not putting myself out there. But I do feel this like urge to go back out because there's so much happening and I want to be part of that healing process because it is what I think music is for. It is the reason that I sing.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, tell me about sort of the first time that you sort of fell in love with this sort of Americana vibe type music, because it's so interesting how someone goes from dreaming of Broadway to then shifting their focus and their passion and their love for another part of a genre that is Americana. And just listening to an interview you're doing, I found this hilarious where you're saying that like you're like you can do this, like you can take this and make it into Americana and not make it sound like Broadway themed.
Yeah.
Tell me about that aspect of your life.
Totally. Yeah, thanks for the question. So I grew up in theater. Like my older brothers were in theater and I think I started when I was 4 years old, like starting to go into theater. So I didn't really know that there were, like I wasn't like on the songwriter path on a really young age. I was in the path of like, ooh, I like to sing like that and I like to sing like that. And musical theater, well, truth be told, I studied opera growing up, like pretty intensely. And then I was like, well, musical theater kind of gives me more of an option to like be myself and be expressive. And I'm a very expressive person, period. And I think putting me in musical theater made sense to my parents and to my family. They were like, well, she's clearly a theater kid. She's very eccentric. And so it just kind of went in that direction. But I never found the passion for it that I think is required to do that. I kind of felt just like I was like, well, I like to sing and I like to act and I like to like be big in my expression. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna try on all these different hats, and that sounds like a lot of fun. So I liked that aspect of it, and I liked the community piece of it. I like that there's I don't know, there's a lot of really cool things to musical theater, and as an adult, I'm looking back and saying like, wow, I think musical theater saved my life. You know, I think musical theater put me on a path that is deeply satisfying now. So I'm glad that I did it. And I went all the way up into college doing musical theater. Like I majored in it in college, and then, but I was in college like having sort of an existential crisis or like a life path crisis, because I knew that like there were opportunities to go to Broadway, and we had a bunch of casting agents come to our school to like see if we wanted to do it. And every single time those things happened, I was like, yikes, I don't want to do this. Like, this is not me. I don't like to schmooze. It's not my thing. This isn't fun for me in the way that I want it to be. I feel like there's too much drama in politics, which is kind of funny because there's a lot of drama in the drama field. But it just didn't feel like me. And when I was 17, I went to see, as you mentioned in my bio, I went to see the Wailin Jennys open up for Nickel Creek in Idaho, where my parents were there for a while. So I just, I saw them open up, and I was like, wait, I like that. Like, that looks like the right thing to do. That looks like the pathway that I want to take. I loved watching Chris Thiele on his mandolin, and soon after my dad bought a mandolin and gave it to me. So that was just like, psh, I'm going in that direction. You know, and I loved the way that they sang, these three beautiful women singers coming together and creating sort of this Celtic Americana folky sound that I hadn't really let myself dive into. And after that, I was just hooked on that all through college and started writing my own music. And then realized, like, shortly after, I got called back for this musical called Spring Awakening, which is kind of a folky musical that was happening in, gosh, when I graduated in 2010, so it's a while ago. But yeah, I was like, well, this is cool and close, but it's not it. And ultimately, I just like went the direction of writing music and being in the space of music. And there was a full circle moment when I made my record, my self-titled EP, where Ruth Moody of the Wailin Jennys came and sang on the record with me. And I told her this story. I told her that like, oh, you're like kind of the reason why I do this now. And she was so graceful about it and continues to be one of my friends. And it's kind of surreal, to be honest, how that has happened, where I'm like, oh, no, this is the way. I want to go that way. I want to write my own music, and I want to play the mandolin and sing and play guitar and get to express my own self and not just other people's ideas of a person or like characters or things like that. I wanted to be the person, Alexa, a Wildish, you know, and like be that in the world.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, just talking about that point there, I find it interesting where when I look at yourself and very colorful, I guess the question I would pose to you is who was the who was the person that made you want to make such colorful music?
That's interesting. I think I am influenced by classical music arrangements and like some of the more beautiful, expressive ways of singing. I really like bigger, more expressive artists even, like, and honestly in the last couple years I've been looking at some of these people that I've grown up with that I've been like, wow, I bet they were told they were too much at one point in their life. You know, like people like Cher or Bette Midler or Lady Gaga, like some of these singers who I think are unabashedly themselves, especially women in a world where it's like, hey, tamp it down. It's like, no, I'm not going to. So I find those people to be pretty influential for me, not necessarily on a music level, but on a like a personal level of like, can you be yourself, the most amplified version of yourself? And can you let your fashion and your joy be emanating from your being? The Voice also gave me a lot of opportunity to explore that. and to really define my style and just my personality, and like let it be okay that I am who I am. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question, but those are some people who have kind of influenced me. But yeah, in the music, in the folk Americana world, we have like Brandi Carlile, who continues to become a butterfly of a person, like has always been herself, but continues to be more and more herself. And that's really fascinating to me. And yeah, I really look to people like that who are willing to do that.
Absolutely. And what was the moment that defined your position in music?
Hmm. That's a great question. So after my musical theater days, I went and worked on a cruise ship for a year and was decided to just like do that for a year to save money. But then I moved to Portland and started making music under my last name, Wildish. And I don't know if there was ever a defining moment of like, oh, I'm just going to do this. I just did it. I just decided and I made it happen. And I think that's the way that artists become artists, is that you don't like get someone to be like, oh no, this is an artist now. Like you just make yourself who you want to be in this world. And you decide to do the thing and then you just do it every day. And that's just how life kind of comes around you. But yeah, I've definitely had really great moments of highs. Like when I released my record under my full name, Alexa Wildish, there was a bit of an intensity because I had spent all this time. I raised money for it through a crowdfunding campaign. My whole community came together, and then I released the record early January 2020, and then like a couple months later, all of the opportunities that were potentially available shut down, like with the rest of the world. So I've had some like waves in my career where I'm like, ooh, really big moment, to like come back in and like remember what you're doing, and a really big moment and come back in. So I sort of feel like I'm on the little bit of like, I had just had that big moment with the voice, and that was like, a very big defining moment for me. And now I'm in a space of like, okay, what's next? Like that's just truly where I'm at.
For sure. Where do you find yourself now in terms of your career?
In terms of my career, I feel, again, I feel like I'm at this place of, uh, like newness, like a new beginning. Last year, 2025 was like a bit hard for me. I think collectively it was hard, but it was also, personally challenging because I had gotten sick like every couple months. And that was like kind of alarming to my nervous system and kind of just like forced me to slow down in a way that I didn't want to. But I did feel like there was a lot of shedding going on. So I let go of a lot of things. And it kind of like every time I would try to like do something, I felt like it was like, nope, not happening yet, not the time. And so I sort of feel like I'm emerging, I guess, this year again. And I do feel like I have so much music in me, so much unrecorded music. When I did The Voice, right after that, I made a record called After Love, which was a record of not original music, but it was cover songs that I reinterpreted, kind of based on my time at The Voice. So that took up a lot of last year, and I was really focused on cover songs and how to redo them, or not redo them, but reimagine them, give them different, like breathe new life into them. And so I have all this music that's like pre The Voice, and I have a ton of music that's after The Voice that's like inside of me. And to be honest, I'm like, I don't know how it's going to come out. As I'm like saying all of this out loud, I'm like, it's probably just going to be like, I just decide to do it and it happens. But I have a lot of visions for these different songs and like don't know how it's all going to come together. But I really am trusting. I feel like there's going to be a lot of newness coming my way this year, and even to my audience. Like I want to bring them something fresh and real. That's how I feel.
Absolutely. I mean, when do you feel like you're more like yourself in terms of how you stay grounded?
Hmm. Thanks. Yeah, that's a cool question too. I feel more like myself when I'm able to connect with nature and I'm able to be in not just like be outside, but like to really be in the presence of nature and not just see it as like, oh, I'm just going outside and I'm in nature. It's like, no, like the world is nature. Like I'm in nature. I'm experiencing the seasons. I'm experiencing things that feel really connected and drawn. And to be honest, I've been less good at that lately. But I do feel most like myself and most grounded when I'm letting myself be soft in nature and like letting myself process, and I'm not on my phone, or I'm not on the computer, or I'm not distracting myself. Like I'm just in the energy of existence and the beauty of life. That's when I feel the most connected.
Why in terms of nature do you feel that there is this sense of belonging in terms
Mm.
of your artistry?
Um, I feel that nature doesn't really try. It doesn't, there's no like energy of like, see me, like I'm awesome. It just is awesome.
Like
You know?
like I don't mean to interrupt, but you just made a really cool point there that I just
Yeah.
want to ask another question off of.
Sure.
You're just mentioning how nature doesn't really try. Why do you feel that way?
Well, I mean, it's not it's not doing anything to like get our attention. I mean, a little bit, but it's not in like when it's just existing, it just exists in its state of perfection in my mind. Like trees, like I'm looking at outside at my house, there's this beautiful juniper tree that just like is absolutely wild and big and just like spread out, and it doesn't look like someone like put it together like, oh, we're going to put that here and here. It's just like so itself. And I think that's something that I really take from nature when I go out into it, is because I'm like, oh, this is just is. Like it is itself. And it's not asking me to see it for it to be enough. Like it is just itself. It is just enough in its own beautiful, brilliant way. And magnificent and magical. And then sometimes you might not think nature is beautiful, or like you're like, oh, I've seen that field forever. Like I've seen like that's just a plain open field with nothing in it. And then you take a moment and you sit in that field and you're like, it has everything. So it gives you these opportunities to see these internal worlds in yourself. Like when I don't feel enough, or I don't feel beautiful, or I don't feel like I deserve to be where I'm at, when I sit in nature, I'm like, oh, it teaches me that the enoughness of life. Like, oh, it's enough. This is obviously enough. And I'm enough, and I'm a part of nature. And I am nature, and I'm enough. And I think so much with the world that we live in, where we're constantly trying to prove ourselves or be seen, or like, can anyone notice me? Like that's exhausting, and it's not even possible for that long. So it's like if you can just show up in yourself and let yourself be witnessed, that's enough, you know?
That makes sense. That makes sense. And, just it's so interesting how we talk about this whole thing because you seem to really find your most grounding moments when you sit along like an old age tree
Yeah.
that may be outside your window that you're looking straight at right now, or somewhere when you first made the trek to Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
and you talked really in depthly, I guess, if that's a word to say,
Mm.
about just a single thing, like a singular object that's so poignant in an artist's career, of
Hmm.
how just a simple thing, especially with album artwork, when I look at album artwork, especially
Yeah.
Vince Gill's album that he released recently. And
Cool.
I was looking at his album, his artwork, and just forget about his songs. His songs are just what it is. But
Yeah.
his album artwork was just a singular guitar, nothing else, and the title
Hmm.
of the album. And I felt this one here, and talking about like a tree, like nature, and how you're so connected to it, how just a singular thing in sort of the beauty of nature, but also in the beauty of an artist's mind
Hmm.
is so powerful. Does that make sense in a way?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you don't need very much. Like there's nothing to prove. I like that. That's cool. I haven't seen that album artwork. I'd like to look at it.
No, because like it's just a simple thing like that. And so I guess what I would elaborate there on is in those moments where you kind of find yourself sitting along a tree or looking around you and the surroundings, do you feel those are your magic hours?
Yeah. I do. I feel like when I'm most connected to trees, nature, to animal life, to anything that's alive, that does remind me that I'm loved, and it reminds me that I love life. Yeah, I really do. And it's hard, I think, to truth be told, it's like I think we live in a time where it's very easy to not love life, because everyone feels divided, everyone feels scared, everyone feels not enough, and it feels uncertain. And I think it's easy to be like, yeah, I don't like this place. I don't want to be here. It's nightmarish or whatever. Whatever your belief system is, you might be feeling that at sometimes. And so being connected to life, being in life, being it's people too. I love people. I love sometimes I'll walk like I had this moment the other day where I was walking around at I think I was maybe even at a grocery like Trader Joe's or something like that, and I was walking around and I just started crying because I was like, wait, everyone is so sweet and so precious. Like this is wild to me. Like can't everyone see that we're just like doing our best and we're like so confused and we just like are fighting all the time, but it's like actually we're so sweet. And everybody in this room, everybody going to get their pasta and their frozen goods and all these things, like running around, they're just doing their best and they have families and they have people that love them. And I love this life. And it's so important to remember that. So yeah.
Absolutely. So do you want to play Magic Hours now?
Yeah, I'd love to. Nice segue.
I
Yeah.
try my best to work on those segues of trying to find the sticking point where I can transition it
You're like, is
smoothly.
this your magic hours? Yeah. Well, this is my song Magic Hours. It's on my EP, Alexa Wildish. I have to itch my nose real quick. I'll try it again. In these magic hours, held in your spell, you mapped my stars with colors surrounding us. On a busy canvas, you painted over all the places I would not look and revealed your work. Oh, you must love me so. In these magic hours, you drew me out from under my own blanket of doubt. You saw me hiding there in your quiet song. You invited all of me to join with my voice so that more could hear. Oh, you must love me so. Oh, you must love me so. When time has slowed down, I sing your poetry out loud. In your reflection, I can see the depths of me. In these magic hours, all the melodies began to wheel around me like Saturn's ring. grace than I ever knew. Oh, I must love you so. Oh, I must love you so for me to know. Hmm.
That song definitely speaks to, I guess, not only speaks volumes, but also speaks to the meaning behind of what we were just talking about.
Hmm.
Like the lyric in there where I heard where you were just saying that you've seen the depths of me,
Yeah.
was that alone is like spoke volumes in terms of how you've wanted to build yourself as an artist, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Um, and there's also a little bit of Brandy Carlisle
Mm-hmm.
inspirations in there. Like
Mm-hmm.
like I have this thing where hearing like the different riffs in an artist's voice, when I look
Mm-hmm.
for people on this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
I listen to sort of what do they sound like? You know, like how do I feel connected to this artist? Um, I feel connected to you because of when I heard your performance of Fields of Gold. And
Mm-hmm.
that was such an iconic, just iconic song in itself. But
Yeah.
being able to take that song and make it Alexa Wildish
Mm.
really was the depths of you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
um, talk to me about Magic Hours. Why did you feel that it spoke the depth of you?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for sharing how you enjoyed Fields of Gold. It's been actually on my mind a lot today. Wildly, it's been
You
playing
should you should
replaying.
you should play it right now.
I can't. I'm not ready to play it, but I mean yeah, no, I don't play it very often, to be honest. I play more like Believe is one I play a lot. Songbird I play a lot. But if I had prepared it, I could have done it. But it is, yeah, that's such a beautiful song. And it's something that had felt really important to me. And it was like my last performance on The Voice, so it sort of has this weird uh, feeling for me because it's like, oh, it got me eliminated, but it's also like, but it was the right time. I felt like ready to go. Um, Anyways, magic hours. What you were asking about magic hours. Would you mind reminding me what you asked?
No, no, no. I mean, in terms of the song that is Magic Hours, and we talked about sort of how it really was sort of this more grounding song for you in
Hmm.
terms of your career and your life story. But why was this song Magic Hours the one that really spoke to the depth of you?
Yeah, I mean, this song was written probably in like 2016 or 2019. God, no, it was recorded in 2017. So yeah, I wrote it based off a very important experience I had with some friends that reminded me how much I needed to put myself out there and be seen and share and I felt like I was hiding a lot of myself. And so it kind of came at this pivotal moment where I was like, oh, I love life and life loves me and I need to show up. I need to do this thing. So for me, Magic Hours isn't about a romantic love. It's more about loving life and existing. But I kind of like when people think it's that about that because like love is love. Love can be for a parent. Love can be for a friend. Love can be for a pet. Love can be for life. Love can be for trees. It can be for anything. Love can be for ourselves. And I think that's the piece that Magic Hours kind of reminds me that anytime I sing it, I remind myself, oh, okay, you don't have to hide anymore. You can show up and do this thing, which is wild because even having this conversation today, I'm reminding myself of that. I can show up.
For sure. And if you could give like sort of one or two sentences on terms of how you would summarize your album After Love, what would it be?
So after love was my like I during The Voice I spent a lot of time thinking about these songs and what they meant to me and how I can show up in the world and like give back and not just like sing a cover song as if the artist already sang it. I wanted to do it my own way. So I in the realm of like Eva Cassidy and Linda Ronstadt, like they were a lot of singers are cover song singers, but they make things their own. You know, like they completely let themselves be in their own space. So for me, it's my way of taking my story and my songwriting into someone else's lived experience to make it real for myself. And so that's what I did at After Love, I think.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, this has been just a true pleasure to be able
Oh,
to really uh, explore sort of. I'm more than happy that we were able to explore what we could talk about today.
me too.
And even though that there could be a two-parter some other time, whatever.
Sure.
Um, because I feel like there is more to this conversation than what we've unpacked today. But
Totally.
um, what has just been your, I guess, where do you see yourself now? I guess is if you could summarize that quickly.
Yeah. I see myself in a moment of emergence. After, as I mentioned, I feel like my life has gone like sort of like big moments quiet, because I'm a very sensitive person and I need to be with myself. So I feel that this is the time of quiet emergence. Like it's going to come through like little step by step. But I think this year is going to be really, really big for me in the terms of like showing up and being seen.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's it for today's episode of the Jigme Kelsang Show. Thanks to my guest,
Thank
Alexa
you.
Wildish. You can connect with her through socials or visiting Alexa's website, alexawildish.com. If you
Thank you.
enjoyed the conversation, please leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to the podcast. It helps others discover the show and helps me keep improving it. Thank you so much for your time, consideration, and
Thank you.
support. Remember, you can find my show wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also follow me on all social media platforms. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.